Have you ever heard of a single feather shutting down an entire museum exhibit? It sounds like something out of a movie, but this strange event actually happened, leaving behind a mystery that still baffles experts today. Our story begins at a small, unassuming museum that suddenly received a donation unlike any other, a single gigantic feather. Right away, the staff knew they had something special. This wasn't just any feather. It was enormous, far larger than the feather of any known bird species on Earth. Imagine a feather so big it dwarfs those from eagles, ostriches, or even the extinct moa. It was truly a biological anomaly. The museum, thrilled with this incredible artifact, immediately put it on display, hoping it would draw crowds and perhaps lead to its identification. The exhibit was an instant hit. Visitors flocked to see the giant feather, speculating on its origin. Was it from a prehistoric bird thought to be long gone, a new, undiscovered species from a remote jungle, or something else entirely? The mystery was the main attraction. The museum brought in ornithologists, paleontologists, and other experts to examine the feather. They studied its structure, its size, its unique coloration, but every single one of them was stumped. The feather didn't match any bird in the fossil record or any living species. Its cellular structure was unlike anything they'd ever seen. It was a scientific impossibility, yet there it was, under the glass. The news of the mysterious feather spread beyond the scientific community and reached the local Native American tribes. Soon, a group of elders from a nearby reservation visited the museum. They weren't there to marvel at the artifact. They came with a solemn warning. They approached the museum director and told him, with grave seriousness, that the feather should not be on display. They explained that this was no ordinary feather. It was a feather from a thunderbird. Now, for those who don't know, the thunderbird is a powerful, legendary creature in many Native American cultures. It's a massive, supernatural bird, said to create thunder by flapping its wings and shoot lightning from its eyes. It's a sacred and immensely powerful being, a force of nature that commands both respect and fear. The elders warned that displaying such a sacred object was a sign of profound disrespect. They believed it could upset the natural balance and attract unwanted, powerful energy. They weren't threatening the museum. They were genuinely concerned about the consequences of keeping the feather on public view. The museum director, being a man of science, was skeptical. He listened politely but didn't take the warning to heart. How could a folktale have any real-world power? The exhibit was a success, and he had no intention of closing it based on what he considered superstition. The feather remained on display, and the crowds continued to come. But then, strange things started to happen. It began subtly. Museum staff working late at night reported hearing odd noises, like the faint sound of flapping wings or a low rumble that seemed to come from the exhibit hall itself. Lights would flicker and die in that specific wing of the museum, even though electricians could find nothing wrong with the wiring. Objects in nearby exhibits were found moved or knocked over in the morning, with no signs of a break-in. At first, these were dismissed as coincidences. Old buildings make strange noises, and electrical grids can be faulty. But the incidents grew more frequent and more intense. A security guard reported seeing a large, fleeting shadow moving across the walls of the exhibit hall on the security cameras, a shadow that didn't correspond to anything physical. Another staff member claimed to feel a sudden, inexplicable drop in temperature and a static charge in the air whenever they got too close to the feather as display case. The atmosphere in the museum shifted from excitement to unease. Staff members became reluctant to work alone or at night. The strange occurrences were becoming the talk of the town, overshadowing the scientific mystery of the feather itself. The director tried to keep a lid on it, fearing it would damage the museum's reputation. The climax came one stormy night. A powerful thunderstorm rolled into the area, storm far more violent than anything the local weather service had predicted. Thunder shook the museum to its foundations, and lightning lit up the sky. In the middle of the storm, all the power in the museum went out. The backup generators failed to kick in. The entire building was plunged into darkness and silence, except for the raging storm outside. The next morning, when the staff arrived, they found a scene of chaos, but only in one location, the exhibit hall with the Thunderbird feather. Display cases were shattered, artifacts were scattered, but nothing was stolen. And at the center of it all, the glass case holding the giant feather was completely destroyed, blown outwards as if from a powerful force originating from within. The feather itself, however, was untouched. It lay there, perfectly preserved, amidst the wreckage. That was the last straw. The very next day, without any public announcement or explanation, the exhibit was closed. The signs were taken down, the hall was locked, and the museum staff was told not to speak about it. When visitors asked what happened to the giant feather, they were given vague answers about the exhibit being under review or closed for renovations. But the renovations never happened. The museum never reopened the exhibit. They never again spoke publicly about the giant feather. Officially, its existence was wiped from the museum's records. But the story lived on through the whispers of former staff and local residents. What happened to the feather? According to the most persistent rumors, the museum director, humbled and perhaps a little terrified, contacted the native elders who had warned him. He returned the feather to them, and they performed a private ceremony to appease the spirit of the Thunderbird and restore balance. So, was it truly a feather from a mythical Thunderbird? Did displaying it really cause supernatural events and summon a storm? Or is there a more rational explanation for everything? Perhaps the strange noises and flickering lights were just products of an old building and overactive imaginations. Maybe the final storm was just a freak weather event that happened to hit the museum. But how do you explain the feather itself? A feather so large it defies all known biology. How do you explain the targeted destruction in the exhibit hall, with the feather's case blown apart from the inside? To this day, there are no official answers. The museum remains silent. The scientific community has no record of the artifact. All that's left is the incredible story of a mysterious feather that was too powerful, too sacred, and too strange for our world. It serves as a powerful reminder that there are some things that science may not be able to explain, and some ancient legends that might be more real than we think. Thanks for watching. If you enjoyed diving into mysteries like this one, be sure to hit that like button and subscribe for more strange stories. See you next time.